Bang, bang, chicken gang. I don't know if y'all can hear me or not, but here I am, JD Wyatt, coming to you live, your Southern Fried Gentleman. It is so a pleasure to be here with you this evening. I do have a few messages out if you guys can't hear me okay, or if there are any problems on this stream. I encourage you to let me know. I also encourage you to interact, subscribe, and like at Southern Fried Sports JD on YouTube, at JD Wyatt 06 on Twitter. Here I am for the very first time. I see a couple of likes coming in on Facebook, so I hope that means that everybody can hear me okay there. Eric O'Brien, Nick Humphreys, Josh Eskew, Chris McCartney, Ryan Price, all of my Gamecocks out there. I am sure that we are all just as happy as we can be right now. I'll be doggone, y'all. What a game. What a college football Saturday. Again, it's JD Wyatt. Man, I'm telling you what, I'm so excited to be here. Testing out this new little streaming service. I'm missing all my logos at the bottom, but don't worry. I got somebody that is going to help me out with that, as I've got my cousin calling me right now to talk about Gamecock football. Julian, sir, you will have to wait. So, without further ado, let me dive into a little bit about what I saw from the Gamecocks today. Man, I'll tell you what. The defense. Let me just start there. Defense. Wow. Wow. Brock Brock V. We'll call him Brock V. Words are hard. Y'all leave me alone. He had as many complete passes in the third quarter as he did sacks. Anybody want to take a stab at what that number was? 3. He had 3 completions and also had 3 sacks there. And man, I'm telling you what. Sorry, as I get used to my new little streaming service here, there's a few little exclamation points and stuff popping up over here on me. Let's see what we got cooking. I should be seeing all these comments here, but I can't currently. We'll figure that one out later. But, as I said, Brock Vandegrift, Brock V, 3 sacks, 3 completions in the third quarter. We haven't had a pass rush like this since Jadeveon Clowney and Melvin Ingram and Eric Norwood. And the list could go on and on back during those Spurrier days when we had these tremendous pass rushes going on. And I'm just thoroughly shocked by the defense. Thoroughly shocked. Thoroughly pleased. Absolutely believe that. Thoroughly pleased with what I saw out of the Gamecocks defense. And so, y'all, I had my red crayons and my garnet crayons, excuse me. I had my garnet crayons out. I was taking notes. And then the further we got into this game, the notes just didn't really seem to matter much anymore, because we were up 10-0. And there towards the end of the second quarter, we gave up 6 points. We could have went up 13-3 had it not been for Lenora Sellers coming back a little too quickly from injury there. To me, in the first half, y'all, with what Ashford was able to do running the ball, there was only a few plays left there. I would have been perfectly okay with Sellers sitting out the rest of the first half and coming back in the second half. And then lo and behold, he come back. He threw the bad pick into triple coverage. Yes, I did my film study. 3 people in the middle of the field around the football is triple coverage. And it was a freshman mistake. Obviously, trying to push the ball down the field. No harm, no foul, though, as it would turn out. And then again, man, the defense, as I said, we had, let's see what else we had. We had Nick Harbor. Not much on the offensive side of the ball until late in the game. But Nick Harbor did have, I did see one play on special teams, man. He laid the wood. And if that was the one I saw, I'm sure he's out there competing. I don't question his fierceness as a competitor. Excuse me. Again, words are hard. I don't doubt his competitive fire. But as Shane Beamer said this week, they want to scheme them the ball more. Wanting to and doing are two different things. So if you wanted to scheme the ball more to Nick Harbor, you most certainly could have done so. Here's one thing I'm certainly happy about. They did scheme the ball to Mazeo Bennett. And Lenora Sellers, man, he looked good. He looked good when he was maneuvering out of the pocket. He wasn't too quick to run this week. And so I'm curious, though, was it more too vanilla last week and we played down to our competition? Or are we as good as what we just played against Kentucky this week? Because Lenoris, big improvement from game 1 to game 2. Shout out to you, young man. One pass, the linebacker came up against Sellers. Sellers right over the top, third down conversion. Excuse me. Absolutely beautiful play, though. Absolutely beautiful play. I hope, again, that you guys can hear me okay. Let me check. Make sure I haven't gotten any messages as to anything different. I got one person that says I'm not on yet. We'll figure that out. We will figure that out, ladies and gentlemen. But, again, thanks for bearing with me. Let me get back to more Gamecock talk, though, man. Dylan Stewart and Kennard again. We also had that big pick 6. Did y'all see that? Big pick 6. Loved it. Loved every minute of it. Eamon Worry. And this is the thing about going forward. And I've said this before. I said that Kentucky was going to be a make or break game for our season. And to me, it depended on what our losses and wins looked like. That was a very dominant looking win. And it wasn't an ugly loss. Like Old Dominion was an ugly win. Kentucky, man, about as pretty can be. I'm not going to compare it to anything because I'm married. I'm happy. So I'm not going to compare that win to being as pretty as anything, but I'm sure if I thought hard enough, I could probably think of something that would be all right. But again, though, it is your Southern Fried Gentleman, Southern Fried Sports. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube, Facebook. Shout out to my new goal that was just reached 600 followers on Twitter. Thank you to each and every one of you that follow me there. But again, go Gamecocks. Bang, bang, chicken gang. Absolutely beautiful looking win today. Loved every moment of it. Now, let's get home next weekend and handle LSU. That's what I said we needed to beat LSU. I said if we lose to Kentucky today, you can almost chalk that LSU game up as a loss. But as it stands right now, we getting fried. Them South Carolina Gamecocks getting Southern fried. Speaking of getting Southern fried, Forgot to tell y'all, I might have a good guest coming on. Gamecock loyalty, possibly. Maybe cultivated one of the best wins ever in South Carolina football history. Very well could be coming on my show mighty soon. Y'all stay tuned and make sure to look out for that. But let's move on. Let's talk about Michigan and Texas. If I was a gambling man, I would have took Texas. Unfortunately, I'm here in South Carolina where I cannot gamble. And I just I had a feeling Michigan is not going to be who they were under Jim Harbaugh. I just don't think so. I don't think they're going to be what they were without Jim Harbaugh. And then last I heard, their head coach doesn't even have a signed contract yet. Plus, there was all the weird text messages between the head coach, Sherrone Moore, and Connor Stalions. If you haven't seen those, make sure to check that out. But Texas certainly looked dominant today against Michigan, Arkansas, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State, man, they always are going to find a way to make it interesting. It's probably because they removed the NIL QR codes off the back of their helmet. It's probably why the game was so close today. Would be my guess. I'm just kidding. It's because Oklahoma State and Mike Van Gundy always seem to lose one or two of these games they shouldn't lose. And speaking of losing games that you should not lose, Notre Dame. Shout out to Notre Dame losing to Northern Illinois today. I have no words. I won't even comment on that one further. Notre Dame lost. A top 10 team always finishes out of the top 10 when they start there. And my guess is that it's going to be Michigan and Notre Dame this year. Penn State probably very close to that as well. But we shall see. We have Ohio State playing this evening. We have Oregon playing this evening. Oregon and Boise State, that's going to be a good one. Oregon struggled last week. Boise State, maybe the G5 playoff contender or a G5 playoff contender. Only time will tell. But I'm looking forward to that one. I'm looking forward to several more games. But shout out to my Gamecocks. Go Gamecocks. I'm on this new streaming service, so I can't say I'm going to take a break real quick or anything. Darn. I need to take a break. I need to read my notes. Just kidding. Let's move on to the next subject here. How about the NFL? Down in Brazil last night. The only reason that they had to go play in Brazil on a Friday night is because there is a law that constitutes them infringing upon high school football. And I'm glad there is this rule, honestly. I'm glad. However, I was not glad to see Saquon Barkley score 3 touchdowns for the Eagles last night and it not be in front of the hometown crowd. To me, that was a travesty. Saquon Barkley would have been immediately welcomed into that fan base. He would have become a legend, I think, for the season if they had that opportunity. And I just hate it that it takes games away from fans here in the States in order for NFL to build its brand. And now I understand if you're going to build your brand, you have to expand. You got to use your brain. And so I'm not mad at the NFL about it. I'm just upset for the Philadelphia Eagle fans that missed that yesterday evening. I am. Granted, I'm sure they saw it on Peacock. Maybe. Not everybody has Peacock. So they might not have seen it. But I'm sure they were watching their fantasy stats. I'm sure they were watching it on ESPN, the live stream, which is what I do with high school football games a lot, but not on ESPN. But speaking of fantasy, man, likely already making a big impression for Ravens fans. What a tough loss by the Ravens, that 1/4 of an inch. Let me make sure I say that right. They lost, or they missed tying the game by 1/4 of an inch. Man, what a game that was. Lamar is my fantasy QB, so he did okay. JD is doing okay. The Southern Fried Gentleman is doing okay in fantasy football. But again, thank you all for being here. Make sure to like, follow, share, subscribe. I'm going to work on making sure that I can see these comments down here, which currently I cannot see as I am on this new streaming service. But we will figure that out. All right? Again, I'm just here trying to make myself better. I appreciate anyone who watches and follows and interacts. And so moving forward, again, shout out my Gamecocks. Big win today against the Kentucky Wildcats. I guess that 88-day comment that Shane Beamer referenced, it clicked with his players. It didn't click with everyone else, apparently. And then the one other thing, my one other huge segment that I normally do, it's called Experts. Experts. Shout out to all of my experts on Twitter or X, whatever you call it. But I did see, this is something I wanted to speak about, only because somebody told me they weren't going to be listening and sent me a thumbs down. So I wanted to make sure to address this. There was a baseball commit for the South Carolina Gamecocks who had to reopen his recruitment because of the new NCAA rules and the huge settlement and everything, where the baseball teams have to trim down their roster sizes. So essentially, this young gentleman who was recruited to come play for the University of South Carolina Gamecocks no longer had a roster spot and was forced to reopen his recruitment. And he said it was because of a rule change. And so I asked what the rule change was. And I had so many people politely answer and tell me, you know, it was the NCAA versus the federal government or the House or whatever it was. I had so many people politely say what the rule change was. And I was so happy because I just wanted to be enlightened. And here's my whole deal. NIL is not being used for what it was created to be. All right? It was created for a young football player or baseball player or whomever that's a college athlete to go sign an autograph for $500. Do one session, 25 autographs, $25 a piece, $500. Easy. No problem. But what happened is all these companies giving all these people millions and millions and millions of dollars. And so there should have been a cap from the get-go. You got to cap this kind of stuff. You can't just say, like we've heard Phil Knight in Oregon say, oh, I'm just going to spend whatever I got to spend in NIL to buy a championship. That is not what NIL was made for. And so I had a couple of people, or I had one person in particular, come at me and be like, oh, well, how do you not know this new rule? You got to show, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, bro, I'm in football mode, first of all. Secondly, this is my side gig. And then third of all, most of the rules that the NCAA makes don't amount to a hill of beans anyway. So forgive me for not paying attention to this NCAA rule and not knowing all the details. But once I did learn the details, it got me hot. It's crap. All these football players can make millions plus, but you've got a third baseman or a catcher or a pitcher on the baseball team who up until now is not even getting a full scholarship. And all these other dudes are getting millions of dollars at NIL. And my dude's over there looking for a burger or a hot dog. Which, golly, that sounds good right now, don't it? A hamburger or a hot dog? I might be hungry. Don't tell nobody. I'm about to eat. It's all good. And then you want to know what I'm going to do? I'm going to watch this Clemson and App State game. Clemson and App State. Clemson fans, if there are any of you listening, what is your nervousness scale from 1 to 10? I asked this question to Susan Lloyd of Susan Lloyd Photography, the Clemson sideline photographer, last week. She said she doesn't get very nervous, which is good. She copped out on me. It's all right. I would say that most Clemson fans probably are at a 5 or a 6, because I think that most Clemson fans respect the dogfight that they are about to get from App State. App State has been a giant slayer before. Taking North Carolina to the ropes, beating South Carolina, beat Michigan, ranked in the top, 3, I think it was. App State ain't no joke, Clemson. So hopefully, Cade Klubnik and Garrett Riley, man, I hope y'all get on the same page this evening. I wish y'all luck. I think it's going to be a great game. However, give me App State and the points all day. And just to be clear, I was wrong. I can admit when I'm wrong, by the way. Let me get that one out there. I did pick Kentucky to win. Shout out to anybody in the upset pick challenge who took the Gamecocks to beat Kentucky. I wasn't that confident. Wasn't that faithful. But I'm dang glad to see it. So y'all, hey, it's been a pleasure. I'm going to run. I don't know how well this new streaming service is working out. It sucks because I can't see comments right now. I'm going to work on that. I'm going to fix that. But y'all, just hit me with a subscribe on YouTube or a like. Follow me on Twitter at JDWyatt06. Look me up on Facebook, JD Wyatt. I'm always looking for good conversation. NASCAR racing. First race of the playoffs coming up tomorrow. I got more sports to go watch. I got more spots to go watch. Words are hard, y'all. I get too excited sometimes. Especially after a Gamecock victory. So as I say though, y'all be blessed, not stressed. Be kind to one another, dang it.